What is the meaning of life? Some seek answers in religion, proposing life follows a divine plan, understood through faith. Those who believe in a higher being believe that God defines a person's meaning and purpose in life. Jean-Paul Sartre argued that life lacks inherent purpose, urging people to find meaning through personal choices. For Sartre, life should be all about allowing a person's freedom to choose actions that will ultimately help them find meaning. On the other hand, existential philosophy emphasizes how our decisions shape life's meaning. Then there's science, which views life as a result of biological processes driven by survival instincts. These discussions impact how we understand personal and collective existence, encouraging us to find or create purpose in an ever-changing world. Do we have free will? Sartre believes that free will isn't bound by anything, and that we can create our destinies through our choices. For him, we are inherently free the day we are born. On the other hand, religious philosophers argue that free will is an illusion and inconsistent with the concept of religion and God, who is the sole author of human fate. But he also believes that freedom is possible, but should be limited instead of absolute. But compatibilists try to find a middle ground between the two views by believing that we can have true freedom if we act based on our motivations, instead of allowing someone to dictate how and why we should do things. Discussions about the existence of free will have helped us understand what it means to be able to choose our path, and what we can do to make the most of our lives, whether or not it was predetermined by God or another higher being. Is there a God? Humans have long wondered about the existence of a higher being, and even our advanced society has yet to prove the existence of a god. Philosophers have shed light on this topic based on their perspectives. Theists, or those who believe in God, propose that the existence of a divine being is the foundation of morality and purpose in life. On the other hand, atheists, or agnostics, disprove the existence of a god. In Karl Marx's perspective, religion simply distracts people from the sufferings of society. Meanwhile, the existential thinkers explain human existence in a way that doesn't include God because they believe a divine being does not control their lives and destinies. For them, the existence of a God limits their freedom. The debate on the existence of a God may never end, but it has helped spark the curiosities of many modern scientists and thinkers who try to make sense of the universe and how a higher being possibly plays a role in it. What is consciousness? At its core, consciousness is about having awareness and how our senses work from our point of view. However, philosophers and scientists have all talked about the true nature of consciousness. Neuroscientists believe that consciousness is simply a biological product of the brain's neural processes, just like how the brain is in a suit and experiences life through our senses. Meanwhile, plenty of modern philosophers believe that there's a separation between mind and body, and that our consciousness can extend beyond physical form. In addition, there are discussions about the hard problem of consciousness, and how there could be a missing link that allows consciousness to form in brain activity. Whatever the case, the philosophical and scientific discussions about consciousness have allowed us to understand how the human mind works, and how uniquely gifted humans are as self-conscious animals. Where does the soul come from? Religions believe that the soul is God's creation through the child's parents, and that He creates unique souls for every person. Ancient Greek philosophers, however, couldn't agree on one theory. Some believed that the soul had already existed before and after death, because of its divine origin. Others accepted that the soul was immortal, but only a portion was divine. However, some Greek philosophers believed that the soul doesn't have a divine nature and dies together with the body. The soul's origin is still a complicated topic that modern philosophers and scientists cannot explain, making it one of the more intriguing thoughts for those who love to explore human existence. Can machines think? The most common argument is that machines are simply products of algorithms humans design. The fact that they were created using codes makes it impossible for them to have independence. So even if artificial intelligence, or AI, can mimic human responses, it is still an inanimate object that cannot simulate pain and happiness like humans. On the other hand, another belief is that human neural activities and machine algorithms aren't so different because they are both just complex systems. Algorithms may be artificially created neural systems that function similarly to human neural networks. So if human neural activities are responsible for consciousness, what's stopping machines from developing consciousness through algorithms? What is truth? The concept of truth is one of the most subjective philosophical subjects, because philosophers throughout history have struggled to understand its nature. In most cases, thinkers wonder if a universal definition exists, or the truth is subjective. Some philosophers believe that truth is subjective, and a function of practicality. According to their beliefs, only things that have practical use can be defined as the truth, no matter their purpose. However, other philosophers who deflate the value of truth believe that it has no depth and is just a product of language. Meanwhile, postmodern thinkers also examine the role of language in shaping the concept and meaning of truth. In other words, philosophers have debated whether truth is objective or subjective. The possibility that truth has a universal meaning is still a mystery. This is why philosophers often examine cultural and societal practices and traditions to understand truth and its relevance to society. What is good and evil? Some thinkers believe that good and evil can be defined by the consequences of a person's actions. This belief gave rise to consequential philosophy, which explores the consequences of actions and how their effects. For consequentialists, actions that maximize happiness and minimize suffering are good, while their opposites are evil. They have no universal meanings for good and evil. On the other hand, moral philosophy believes that moral principles should define good or evil actions. Regardless of the consequences of a certain act, if it is inherently good or evil based on moral principles, it should always be good or evil. A good example of an inherently evil act is killing, which is always evil in the eyes of moral philosophy, even if killing someone saves thousands of lives. The evolution of good and evil concepts has helped shape modern society and the laws and norms that determine what we can or cannot do. However, traditions, cultures, and religions can also affect how we view good and evil acts, making these concepts subjective. Is there life after death? The most common belief in religion is that there is life after death. However, different religions have different versions of the afterlife. Some religions believe in reincarnation, whereas others believe in a spiritual realm for the soul, such as heaven. In most religions, our decisions in life determine our afterlife. Being good allows one to live in peace eternally after death, or be reincarnated to a better life, whereas being wicked can lead to an afterlife of suffering. Philosophy, however, looks at it differently. Democritus believed that the concept of an afterlife was ridiculous. But in other instances, those who deny the existence of an afterlife only do so because they know that it cannot be proven. Whether or not the afterlife exists, this concept has helped us make the best of our current lives, because we can't be sure if this is the only life we'll ever get to live. Why strive for perfection if it is unattainable? Ancient Greeks believed that perfection is excellence in every aspect of life, and that everyone should strive to be perfect. However, the most popular belief is that perfection can never exist, because humans are naturally flawed and will never be perfect. So what then is the purpose of striving for perfection if it is unattainable? According to Aristotle, an object is perfect if it completely fulfills its intended purpose. In simple terms, someone doesn't have to be perfect in everything for them to be perfect. As long as people fulfill their purpose in life, they can attain perfection. But another reason why people should strive to attain perfection is that it drives us to progress. It may be true that perfection cannot be achieved, but working toward perfection is the only possible way for us to progress as a society. The more we progress as a society, the better off everyone will be, even if it may be true that we can't attain perfection. Can moral dilemmas be resolved objectively? For example, if a father has to choose between saving his wife or daughter from a sinking ship, a moral dilemma arises because there is no morally right answer. Consequentialists propose that dilemmas can be resolved based on the consequences of a choice. If one choice leads to better consequences, that is the correct choice. Moralists don't believe in that concept because they believe that moral principles should guide our decisions in dilemmas. Since there's no morally right answer in most moral dilemmas, it now becomes a question of which choice is more moral than the other. Our evolving understanding of resolving moral dilemmas has helped us make the best decisions when faced with real-world problems. In most cases, people take the consequentialist route to resolve moral dilemmas. Is immortality possible? Biologically, immortality should be impossible because living bodies are limited and meant to deteriorate over time. However, the rise of technology, which has helped increase the human lifespan and possibly replace organic body parts with artificial ones, could eventually lead to immortality. Philosophy, however, has a different perspective on immortality. The ancient Greeks believed that the soul is the only part of the human that should be immortal. Meanwhile, philosophers during the Enlightenment believed immortality is impossible because humans only behave morally when they know they cannot be immortal. Religions, meanwhile, believe that it is only in the afterlife that humans can be immortal, both body and soul. Regardless of how far science and technology can take us, the realization that we cannot live forever is one of the reasons why we often have to make the most of our lives. Is our universe real? Some philosophers during the 17th century once considered life a grand illusion, created by a force he called the evil demon. However, few philosophers at his time wondered about this question. Recently, the simulation argument, proposed by some theorists such as David Chalmers, believes that we could be the product of a simulation, and that the civilization around us is also a product of a simulation. Moreover, we may not even be who we think we are, opening the possibility that our identities in the real world are different. While there is no real way to determine whether or not this is true, this philosophical question allows us to reevaluate the world around us and what we mean by real. The same philosophical question has also been featured in fictional works, particularly The Matrix.